Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, Special Projects Librarian here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is Library Commission's weekly online event where we cover any kind of topics that may be of interest to librarians across the state. We have commission staff as we have this morning, and we bring in guest speakers sometimes, and we do a mishmash of things, interviews, presentations, little training sessions, whatever we think of that might be of interest. We do these sessions every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, and they are recorded. So if you're unable to attend one of our sessions live on Wednesday morning, we've got about 2.5 years worth now of recordings that you can watch out there.
And the audio versions, the podcast
Yes,
version.
we do. Yes, we have video recordings of them, the sessions, PowerPoint slides, if there are any, are up there. Delicious links are up there, and we then redo them as a podcast.
Yeah, I think this might be episode 130.
Is it when we get it done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this morning, we have a session just generally titled Google+. Next to me is Michael Sowers, who is the Nebraska Library Commission's Technology Innovation Librarian, and he's in Google+. I'm in it too. Some of you may be, some of you might not be. Don't worry about it. And he's going to take us on a tour of it, try and show what is it, what are you all hearing about, what the heck? Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
You got a plan?
That was just kind of your intro kind of slid down there. Right.
It's such a new thing. It's hard to introduce.
Well,
there's not we'll show you what to do because, it's
exactly.
a work in process kind of thing.
A work in progress is probably the single best thing you could probably say about Google+. Well, not single best, single most accurate thing you can say about Google+ right now. To a certain level, I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this, you at least heard of Google+. Although we have some folks who sign up for everything, which is good. You always learn something. But the one thing I am not going to assume to start with is that you're already using Google+. I'm just going to assume you've heard of it, and I'm going to kind of explain what it is and how I'm using it. And we will probably end up running into some of the issues that have been raised around Google+. And we can get into those, but some of those issues could be their own presentations. So I do kind of want to focus a little bit on kind of the mechanics of it more than anything else. Now, Google+ has been around this is week 5.
Is that it?
Yes,
this
is week 5, at least open to the general public. Now, when I say open to the general public, it's still invitation only. Before 5 weeks ago, it was pretty much Google staff, and they've been working on it for the better part of a year, actually. There's a great new book that came out called In the Plex, which was Stephen Levy writing about Google, and during the whole writing of that book, he was learning about this project, but couldn't write about it because it wasn't out before the book came out. Yeah, so he's so he gets to write a big, giant, long blog post about it after it came out. But so literally, we are not even a month and a half old with this thing. So that's why I want to stress that it is kind of a work in progress. It is Google's attempt at a social network. In fact, you might argue that it's Google's latest attempt at a social network. It is invite only, and for anybody who is not already in Google+ but is interested, I'm going to hook you up. Okay. I have 150 invites that are available if you go to this URL. It's tinyurl.com/NCompLiveG+, and the plus is spelled out. So NCompLiveGPLUS. tinyurl.com/NCompLiveG+. You just uttered over there. Was somebody already asking for an invitation?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. We had a comment from Alyssa Root saying, "Cool, I've been on about 6 weeks now. Didn't know I was in the know."
Oh yes, you're in. Now, that being said, it's really easy to get in now. It's really easy to get an invite. There's my 150. When this stops working, I'm out of my 150.
There were in the beginning. They were very much limited.
Very limited.
People who were in had invites, like I had 8 to give out, like on day 1. And then they shut it down because people just came in like crazy and they didn't realize, oh, wait, we need to do a little bit more to support this. We need to slow down. It's beta. We're still testing things out. So they kind of did slow it down. And then after a week or two, I finally was able to give out more invites. Yeah. So
they are opening it up now. That being said, there's already more than 20 million registered users. in Google. So, there's a lot of people hanging out. Okay. So there's that URL. Use it now. Use it after.
Thank you. We've got to thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. We have less than 150 people watching live, so you should be good until after the session. Once the recording goes out.
You guys know this right now.
Who knows? All right. So Google Plus is located at plus.google.com, and it is kind of starting to integrate a little bit into all of the other Google services. One of the things that came out with Google Plus, if you are a Google user, is this black bar kind of across the top here. And notice this is plus U. I can also switch to my Gmail, calendar, documents, etc. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And this is where, it already knows I'm on Gmail here, so let me type in my password. See if I got that right on the first try, because I think I screwed it up. See, I have one of those good passwords. No, it worked. Okay, good. All right, so Google+. You can try comparing it to Facebook. You can try comparing it to Twitter. I have kind of intentionally, in using it in the last month or so, tried to not compare it. Okay. When Google Plus came out, I said, well, I'm not really a Facebook user. I'm a heavy Twitter user. I'm going to try Google Plus, and I'm going to try forgetting about those other services. A lot of the critiques I keep reading about Google Plus is, well, I'd like it to do X, Y, and Z. Well, I have two responses to that. One response is they're still working on it. So there are some significant features missing, such as searching. You can't search this content yet. Go figure. It's Google. They do search. I know. This is okay. That is my biggest complaint. There are some features missing. My other response is most people who say I wish you would do X usually follow that with just like Facebook or just like Twitter. Well, it isn't Facebook, it isn't Twitter, so don't necessarily assume that it's ever going to do something just like Facebook or just like Twitter, okay? Which does bother some people. Doesn't bother me necessarily. Okay.
The other side of that is,
yes,
I do have conflicting views with you on some stuff.
Chris and I don't. She invited me, by the way, but we don't completely agree on Google Plus.
Only because I knew people and I got it first.
You got it first, I know.
The other side of that, as I've seen that you've said that, and other people have said, well, it's not Facebook. That's kind of the point. It's built differently to do different things, and that's fine. However, people want to use the internet in a certain way for some reason. Now, it may be because they've been trained by Facebook. This is how you use it, possibly. It may be just that they have decided, you know what, this works, so this is how I want to be able to communicate with my friends, communicate with my patrons, whatever. And sure, it's fine to have something new that works differently, but you also have to pay attention to the fact that people want to use the internet in a certain way, and if you don't let them do that, they're not going to stick around. Sure. There are going to be some people that say, it's nice for what it does, that it's doing something differently, but that's not how I need to use the internet, so it's not for me.
Right. Yep. Good point.
Being different isn't always good. It may be better, but people have to learn that it is, or they have to say, you know what, it's just not what I can do. It's not useful to me. So,
sure. Right.
Which is the same reason why you're not on Facebook a lot, apparently.
Yeah, it just doesn't work the way I want it to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm there because it's how my family talks to me. But anyways.
Well, that's important.
So, all right. As you can see, looking down kind of the center of here, the latest post from Bill there. This page does kind of consistently update itself. I don't have to hit refresh. Kind of like your stream on Facebook, and there I go already comparing it to Facebook. I have over there on the left-hand side my stream and my sparks. I will get back to those in a few minutes, and it knows that it's me. Okay. It's telling me here that hi, Michael. That 4 new people are sharing with me. These are kind of the friends. I'm going to talk about those in a little bit. And if I scroll over to the right here, because we due to the video, we haven't maximized, it lists people in my circles, suggested people that I might want to follow, and it looks like already 5 of my invitations have been used. Okay. All right. Let's talk about what would be the single biggest difference between what you're used to in, say, a Twitter or a Facebook and that. Let's talk about friending people in Google+, which actually is what they call circles. So I'm going to go up here, and I've got a circles button, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at my circles. Now, this is kind of the first hurdle most people need to get over in understanding how Google Plus is different and how it works. Okay? You can follow other people, like you can add them, say, as a friend in Facebook or follow them on Twitter. But what you do is you create what is called circles. Okay? And this isn't scrolling very well at the moment, but as you can see here, I have a circle called Librarian Peeps. I have a circle called Whovians. I have a circle called Coworkers. I have a circle called Family. I have a circle called horror lovers, for other people who enjoy horror novels and horror movies.
Some of those circles are there already. You don't have to.
Some of them already come there. Yes. When you first log in, you get
automatically
friends, family, and acquaintances. I
That's
think
three
are the
basic.
three default. Okay. So let's say, for example, that I have here Krista Burns, and she's not currently in one of my circles.
Wow.
What I can do, well, really, is I can add her, drag and drop into my Librarian Peeps. Okay. And actually, I think you're now in there twice, which is funny. Or you weren't in there by default. Now, people know that I have added them to a circle. So Krista is going to get a notification in her Google Plus that I'm now following her and that she's in my and that I've added her to a circle. But she doesn't know the name of the circle I've added her to. Okay. So, for example, I could have a circle called People I Find Really Annoying, but Say Interesting Stuff.
I can see that.
Yeah, we all know some people like that. So I can follow them in that circle, but they wouldn't know that I put them in a circle called that.
You don't know.
Okay. I can create a new circle. So, for example, people who attended this session, I could create a circle for that. Okay. Now, what is the effect here? Okay. The effect is if I go back to my stream. Okay, so I'm going to go home. Okay. Now, there's a couple of things that are going to happen here. One is Michael, who is participating in this thing, again, hello, Michael, is in one of my circles. So his stuff is going to show up in my stream. Okay. Bill is in one of my circles. So anything Bill posts is going to show up in one of my streams. Then as you see down here on the left, I have those streams for those particular circles that I've created. So if I want to see just things from my librarian piece, don't ignore the bookmarks one. We'll come back to that later if we have time. I can now see, instead of everybody I'm following, I can just see the people I'm following that is in my Librarian Peeps circle. Or just in my Horror Lovers circle, okay, which is a very small circle at the moment. Stuff I've posted, stuff that Mary Carmen Shimano has posted. Okay? Or I can go back and I can say, please show me everybody in my stream. Okay.
Now, in order to put people in some of these, obviously, Librarian Peeps is pretty obvious. You know they work at a library or they're library related, so that's why you put them in there.
Yes.
In order to put people in your Horror Lover circle or your Whovian circles, people who are into Doctor Who, I should get that, you have to know that they are into that kind of thing.
Or you
what
can ask.
Yes. You
Yes.
have to ask and then tell people, I'm creating this circle, and if you are interested in it, let
Please.
me know, and I'll put you in that circle, which just seems like an awful lot of
Well,
work.
see, and again, this is where we kind of get into some like theoretical things about Google Plus. I kind of thought about this because I did ask for the Whovians one. Hey, I've created a circle. Do you want to be in it? Let me know.
But it does compare to in Facebook, you can create lists of your friends and put them in categories. And I've done that in Facebook. But I didn't ask people because I wasn't thinking of it for the purpose you are of like, oh, if I want to share stuff about Doctor Who, I'm sure like half my friends out there don't care, so I'll just share it with the people.
Well, yeah, that's where we're coming to next, right?
And for that purpose, it's cool. But what I've got, like in Facebook, I have Nebraska work people, library in the general people, people from New York because I'm from New York. Family is a separate one, so I did it just myself that way.
Right.
And you can do that here too. Like, I mean, for those two, you obviously had to know, oh, I know people who are into this, or ask. But you can also just say, well, I'm just going to create it.
Yeah, I kind of thought about it, and I kind of went, if Bill suddenly starts sharing some stuff about horror, I'll stick them in my horror lovers
Because you'll
friends.
realize, hey.
I'm kind of, I asked that once, and then I kind of decided, you know what, I'm just going to kind of let it grow and pay attention to what, these people are doing, and then kind of create circles around them. Okay, so Krista mentioned something real quick there about, okay, we've talked about incoming stream and what the circles do. The circles allow you to limit what you're seeing incoming, okay? What I can also do is decide to share with just a particular circle. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna write a little post here that says I'm currently demonstrating Google Plus. Okay. Now I can write something. I can share photographs, which we'll come to in a minute. I can share a video. I can share a link. I can add my location to this. Okay, I'm going to keep it nice and simple at the moment. And then down here, notice it says public, and then it says add more people. You can choose who to share your posts with. Now, if I post this just right now, it will be shared with the world. It'll be public. Anybody who's got me in a circle will be able to read it. And actually, there's kind of a public stream hiding out there a little bit. I can actually take that out, okay, and then it says add circles or people to share with. I can now say, well, you know what? I only want to share this with my librarian peeps, okay, and my wife. And so I can add her. And so now I'm going to share this with Mary and my librarian peeps. And then I've also, because this is integrated with my Google contacts list, I can also send this as an email to 17 people who are in that circle, or my wife, who are not yet using Google+. So they would get an email of this item. That's not something I tend to do. Because some of these people might have, I know, to me it does seem kind of a little pushy. So I'm just going to go ahead and share that. Now, by default, only the people who are in that circle or my wife will see it, and all of you watching this recording.
Okay, do you have a question?
Yes, question.
Well, comment first. Larissa also said you can put the same person in more than one circle, too.
Yes, good point. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Any question? What does public stream hiding out there a bit mean? What is that? It's how public is public, I guess, is probably the...
No, it's hard to talk about the public stream at the moment because there's no built-in search to Google+. But if you know how to limit Google searches to certain domains, it is fully public.
Well, okay. Like if you give someone your Google+, the URL to your particular profile,
yes,
and they're not logged in, they'll see
they will
your
be able
public
to see it.
stream,
yes,
that kind of thing. Okay,
yeah,
that's the way.
Okay,
to do it too.
So we'll get to my profile in a moment, but
okay.
Yeah, you're just, the easiest way to put it is if you list it as public, anybody will be able to read it, even if they're not a member, if they know how. That's kind of what I mean by hiding out there. It's
unlike
not,
with like Facebook, where it says
you've got to be logged in the first place.
It's like Twitter, where people can just go look at your Twitter and see everything you posted, even if they don't have their own Twitter account and they're not logged in.
If your Twitter account is public.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So that's writing a post. Now, as you'll notice here, you can do a couple of things with a post. And I'm going to go ahead and play with Michael's post here for just a moment. I can +1 it. Now, what's going to happen here is Michael's going to get a little notification that I've +1'd this. This is where it gets a little confusing again, because there's +1ing in Google+, and there's +1ing out on the web, where you're on a website and it says, hey, you want to +1 this website because you think it's cool?
Started seeing that lately.
Yeah, here's the problem. They're not connected to each other. So
What?
+1ing a website and +1ing a post in Google+ is not the same thing. I know. There are, every once in a while there'll be a post in Google Plus from somebody I know who says something like, "Wait, I +1 here, but it doesn't show up over here," and I'm like, "Yeah, because those are two different things, even though they're called the same thing."
Somebody needs.
There's growing pains.
Yeah.
There's this is one of those things that just doesn't quite work yet. Okay. Now, what I can also do is I can comment on Michael's post and say, "Hey, we're having lots of fun." Aren't we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have a question when you get a break.
Fun. I can't type and talk at the same time. I post that comment, and now I've left a comment. Okay, and it's threaded, so it's going to stay on that particular item. Michael's going to get a notification that a comment has been left on his post. Question?
Yeah. Someone added me to a circle, but I haven't added them.
That's
Does
fine.
that mean they see everything I post? Or
Yes.
his post automatically shared with me?
Okay. Oh, see, I knew this was going to happen. Okay, so
I have
let's.
a lot of people that have added me to
Right.
circles, and I have not added them because I don't know who the heck they are.
If I add someone to one of my circles, I see them in my stream. If they add me to a circle, they see my stuff in their stream, providing I've shared it with them. Okay.
By being public.
By being, say, public.
Mm-hmm. Would be a way.
But let's say Krista has added me, but I have not added Krista. If I make something public, she will see it because I'm in one of her circles. Okay. But if I share it with just my family, she won't see it because she's not in my family circle.
Right.
So it depends on what you've shared whether they'll see it. Right. You will not see their stuff unless you put them in a circle.
Right.
Unless, because there's always an unless. Over here on the left, there's an incoming stream. Okay?
I don't know anything about that.
The incoming stream is actually interesting. The incoming stream are things from people who have me in a circle, but I've not added them to a circle. Okay, so let's say Joe, for example, adds me to a circle, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know Joe, so I'm not going to add Joe to one of my circles. But I can go look in my incoming stream for things that Joe has made public or has shared with the circle he put me in.
So then you can kind of decide.
I can learn about
Joe.
Joe.
To add him, is he somebody I should know?
Yes.
Maybe he'll be a new friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So
this is similar to looking at a person's. The same thing when someone adds. Well, you got to make comparisons.
I don't know.
They've done before.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just like Twitter. People say so and so is following you on Twitter. I go and look and see if I don't know them. Do I care? I go look and see what kind of things they're posting and then decide. Same thing with Facebook. Someone says they've added you as a friend. I go and look at their profile. If it's public, I then decide, do I also want to know what they're saying or not? Or no, fine, he can listen to me, but I don't feel any need to,
So, for example, this person named, hi, I'm Wahab from Algeria. I have no idea who this person is. Has added me to a circle. So they're interested in what I'm saying. I can use incoming to find out if I'm interested in what they're saying. It takes some practice.
Yeah, okay? I didn't, honestly, until just now, I didn't know that incoming thing. Well, I hadn't explored much, so I didn't know it was there.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my home stream. And one of the other things you may have noticed is this red 6, in my case, up here in the kind of that black Google toolbar. These are my notifications. Now you can also get to notifications down here on the left. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. And remember I said something like, well, Michael will know that I +1'd his post and that I left a comment on his post. Get that in his notifications. Okay. So, for example, we've got here that Craig Anderson commented on a post, on one of my posts. Jim Del Rosso +1'd it. Natalie Mankey reshared it. Okay. Gary Price has shared a post with me. Jeff Scott, David, and JD have +1 some post that I also +1'd. Okay? And I could click on any one of these to show you more details, but considering I don't know the content of those posts, I'm not going to do that. But I can see here that Denise, Aaron, and Monica have all added me to a circle on Google+. Michael has commented on a post that I commented on. I'm guessing that's his post. And I'm going to show someone and click on that, and it says that, he didn't know that the +1s were not connected.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah, well, when we get to the profile in a few minutes, I'll show the disconnect there. Do we have another question?
Yeah, we have a couple of different things.
Okay.
Circles are an issue, I know.
Okay.
So can someone add you that you don't want to be associated with? Or do I have to approve being added to their account?
Okay.
That's a
good question.
I have
okay.
this too.
I can, let's use Joe again as our sample
I think
person.
really the ultimate question is, can you stop someone from adding you to their circles?
You can't stop them from adding you, but you can block them after the fact.
And what does that do?
Okay. Well, in other words, Phil, if we go back to my notifications here, Denise has added me to a circle. Okay. Denise, nothing personal. I could now look at Denise and Denise's stuff and say, you know what, I don't want her to see her. I can block her. Okay. So she will no longer see my stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So I can't stop people. Like, you can't stop someone from following you on Twitter.
True.
If you're public.
True.
Okay. But you can block them after the fact.
Right. You get the notification that says so-and-so started following you. And what normally I do, if I look at it and it's obviously a spam bot or something.
Well, yeah, this is where we differ on some things.
It's helping the Twitter community where I report it as a spammer and block it. You can also just block it if you're just like, no. So, no, you cannot stop them from adding, but after you've been notified, you can then block it so they don't see your stuff. So if you're not happy that someone is listening to what you're saying, you do it afterwards.
Although, personally, I think if anybody wants to listen to me, so be it. But that's a whole separate conversation. Okay? And so you can see our notifications are coming in. Okay, let's answer the questions.
Oh, okay. What's next? Oh, if you only share in your stream to your circles, people who've added you but you haven't added them won't see it, correct? So if you only send it to specific of your circles, not out public.
That is correct. So, for example, if I share it with Librarian Peeps, only people in Librarian Peeps will be able to see it. Now, by default, someone could reshare it outside of my circle. Okay? So, for example, if you see here, Andy has shared this with a limited group of people. Okay? I have the ability to reshare Andy's post. Okay? One of the things it will do is it will say here, please keep in mind that Andy shared this with a limited audience. Are you sure you want to extend that audience?
That's a nice little warning.
Okay. The other thing Andy could have done is there is ability when you create a post to say, do not allow this to be reshared. Okay. Now, someone always could copy and paste and retype and, I mean, it's private, but if you put it on the internet, somebody could always get out there if they, really wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. Nothing is really private.
Nothing is completely private.
Don't pretend that it is.
Exactly.
Don't delude yourself.
I really think of circles not as a privacy thing, but as a, only 5 people in my extended group really want to hear all my Doctor Who news. So I'm just going to share the Doctor Who stuff with them. It's not that I don't want it out there. I just figure most everybody else doesn't care. So it's not a privacy thing. It's a choosing who to tell thing. Another question? They're coming in now.
Yeah, this is a long thing here. Google Plus kind of, I haven't read this ahead of time, feels like when a bunch of people get together somewhere but aren't exactly sure what's going on. So, so we're here, now what? Do you do the same thing like Facebook, cross-posting the same things? What's the difference? What is the benefit? I mean, until someone does something really different with this, is that kind of potential here. I mean, it seems the only benefit so far is the ability to filter who you share things with.
Well, okay.
I also let you know that this is a guy who this person Phil. Hi Phil. He came in a little late, so he missed the beginning.
Okay. I won't disagree with Phil. The kind of early joke, especially in the first couple of weeks, was what's the benefit of Google Plus? Well, what's Google Plus? It's not Facebook. Okay, so what's the benefit of Google Plus? It's not Facebook. The other one was
people that just generically say, I hate Facebook.
Yeah. What do you do on Google Plus? You talk about Google Plus. Yes, it's just another platform. Some people are cross-posting. Other people are not cross-posting. I am trying not to. I am trying to live in Google Plus because I never really lived in Facebook. So there is a certain level of kind of echo chamber inside Google Plus. But some people also argue that your mom is not in Google Plus, so Google Plus therefore is already more fun. Or better, because there are a lot of technically oriented people in Google Plus.
That's what they send the things out to in the first place. Yeah.
So there's kind of a few things there. Okay, do we have any other questions? Oh yeah. Okay, give me one more, and then I'm gonna talk about something else.
Someone wants to know, and actually this is good to know. How do you actually block someone? you talked about it, but you didn't show how you where it comes up.
Okay, see, I've never done it, so bear with me here.
Well, I'm sure it'll come up with options
I'm going to, let me find this, the people who added me. See, things are already coming in. Okay, pick on Catherine because we know Catherine. Right here, I can add Catherine to one of my circles, which I'm actually going to do. I'm going to call her a friend, and a librarian peep. It's this hover thing here. So you've got to, now I could have used that drag and drop I showed before. This is another way, and Nebraska and the work. Yeah, well, actually just hover over it. You don't even have to click on it.
I'm just talking about the blocking.
Oh, yes.
How you got to this.
And then notice here's block.
Yeah.
And here's hide. In other words, okay, fine, but I'm not going to follow her back. Just leave me alone. Just hide this information. Okay. So there's where the block. There's one of the places you can get block. Also notifications. Which is just a full screen version of what we're looking at right now. And actually, if you go into circles, there's actually a way to do it in there, I believe.
There's multiple places that you'll be able to find the option to do it.
And in fact, brought up Catherine's profile.
Oh, apparently Catherine is watching right now.
Yes,
the rest of the commission staff, because she just said, "Oh, you added me to your friend circle."
Yes, So
hi, Catherine.
I'll undo that later.
And we do have a question from Michael Casey, which I think is something that you may talk about later. If you want to wait for later, or if you want to
hold that thought, Michael. Hold that thought. Okay. Well, let me bring that kind of at the end. Okay.
That is an issue.
That's one of the issues. So we'll come back to that. Okay. My profile. I'm going to go ahead and click on my name here, and kind of show you what's available in the profile. Now, I've got kind of several tabs here. This is kind of my stream. This would be like, this is the stuff I've posted. This is my public profile. So only things I've made public will show up here. So one of the things I was saying is people can find it. You don't have to have a Google account. You can go to my Google Plus profile page and see this stuff. Okay? And I'm going to tell Josh, yes.
Yes, right now.
Yes, right now. Okay, so these are things I've made public. Okay?
You can tell them where to go to watch.
You can. I don't have the link right off the top of my head. Here's my public Google profile. Now, if you've set up a Google profile, this is your Google profile. Okay. I've put in a lot of information here. I live generally very publicly. Okay. Other people, not so much. Photos. There is a whole photo sharing thing in here, and this integrates with Picasa Web, Google's photo sharing service. And I use this a little bit, not a lot. I'll come back and show it to you a little more. If I had shared any videos, they would show up here. I haven't shared any videos yet. Now, I'm going to bring up, here's where, see we have +1s, okay? These are +1s on the web. These are not +1s in Google+. So that Michael Casey post that I +1'd a few minutes ago does not show up here. It should. You would think it would, but it doesn't. Okay, see, this is, they're working on it. Okay, and then do you remember Google Buzz?
Yeah.
Google Buzz still exists, and if you post to Google Buzz, you can have your Google Buzz posts right here. I
didn't know it still existed.
So actually, I don't post to Google Buzz. I kind of feed like my tweets into Google Buzz and a few other things. So Buzz still exists, but nobody uses it. Okay. From here, you can see the public profiles of people who are in my circles and the people whose circles I am in. Okay. Now, you can control what is public. So please keep in mind that just because I have provided a super large amount of information about myself here doesn't mean you have to. The only things that are required to show up in your Google profile are your name, hold that thought, Krista, and your gender, hold that thought, Krista, which actually I know you have an option to choose, don't say your gender, okay? But it's still required to answer that question. You can just refuse to answer that question. You can say male, female, or other.
Well, I thought they changed where I didn't even have to show it at all anymore.
Okay, maybe, but you still have to answer the question. It may not have to be shown.
Answering and showing are two different things.
This is one of those issues. Yes. Okay, just any thoughts you have about that, please hold those thoughts. We'll try to spend 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the session on that.
About 20 minutes left.
I know, yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the time here. Okay, let's talk about pictures. Pictures are pretty cool. Okay, Here's the interface, and right now we have kind of 4 areas here. Photos from your circles, photos from your phone, come back to that, photos of me, and your albums. Okay. These are photos that have been shared with me from other people, okay, whether it be public or because I'm in their circle. Okay, I did kind of look at these earlier. I don't see anything here. I hope nobody would mind as are on this here. And I can upload a new photo. There's a button right here in the upper right to do that. So I can then just select a photo from Picasa. I can upload it from my desktop, and it's a nice drag and drop interface. It's really cool. You can literally, if you click on upload new photo here, you can just drag photos into this box, and they'll go right into the system. This next one is a little scary to some people. It's called Photos from Your Phone. Now, this assumes that you have installed the Google Plus app.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, sorry. This assumes you've installed the Google Plus app on either your Android or your iPhone. Okay? And there is an option that says, do you want to turn this on? Here's my Android phone. Okay, I've turned this on. That says any photo I take on my phone automatically gets uploaded to my Google Plus account. But it goes into this section called Photos from Your Phone, which only you can see. You have to then choose to share the photo out to the system for other people to see.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so these are 3 photos I took this morning, and right now you're only seeing them because I'm broadcasting them here.
Yeah.
You will not see these any other way because you are not me unless I decide to share it.
So it's just a cool place for it to just stash your photos.
Yes, exactly. It's
now,
like
is this
like
Picasa or is this Google Plus?
This right now is, I think it's also in Picasa. See, I don't really use Picasa. It's kind of integrated.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so actually, if I went to Picasa, yes, I would see these,
okay,
I believe, but they would be in a Photos from Your Phone gallery, and only you would be able to see them as the account holder.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
This is a poor possum that was caught in our fence this morning, and we've called animal control. They're taking care of it. That's why Krista kind of eked just a little bit there. I have not shared these photos because, I don't know, I think, Krista went eek. So,
well, no, I just remember because you just showed it to me earlier. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
that's the
poor little
possum. Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully he's okay, but he probably has a bad leg at this point. Photos of me, you can tag people in photos, kind of like with Facebook. You can upload photos yourself. I have not done this. And then you can organize your photos in albums. You can share albums. There's, various things. So, for example, let's say I wanted to share this photo in this funny album. Okay, I can click on it. It shows me kind of a full one. I can now share this album. Zombies Eat Brains.
Oh,
yeah,
it was cut off the
safe.
Z and I couldn't get it.
Sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and click share. Okay, and then if we go back to my stream, and there we go. Okay, photographers are loving Google Plus. Okay,
Yeah.
because they share a photo on Twitter. You get a little tiny postage stamp, and
On
then you got to go
Twitter.
see it.
Yeah.
Facebook even's not so much. Let me see if I can actually scroll down and find a better photo here because there's a photographer I follow who's really good. Here's
We do have some questions about
Okay, I'll finish this thought. Here's Trey Radcliffe. By the way, if you love photography, follow this guy. He's a genius. But what I can do here, and this is where kind of the next stage of photos, if I click photo, what it does is it brings up the photo in this light box. And now you can see all the comments that have been left on this. You can browse the photos. It's a really nice photographic interface. I'm sure Michael Casey out there would agree with me on this. And in fact, if you have a comment about this, I'd love to know what you think of it. But I'm really enjoying how photos are shared. Now, to be honest, I'm mostly still sharing my photos on Flickr. I'm kind of invested in Flickr.
The thing, yeah. I never use Picasa. Everything of mine is on Flickr and Facebook.
Things I take on my phone are kind of automatically going into here. I might upload, some really good ones. Everything goes in Flickr. If I take what I think is a really good photo, maybe I'll upload it to Google+. I haven't really decided how I'm going to use Google+ with photos quite yet. I'm still working on that. Okay, so we got some questions and comments here.
Someone says there's a comment. They wish Beta Music Google, the new Google Music thing, would talk to Google Plus. But I know that's a copyright issue. They said not a question. That's how Google Plus is different to me. He also says Phil again said that photo thing is very cool.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna go backwards here. About the Google Plus app, it says you have to use the geolocation to even log on. Is there a way around that?
I seem to recall that there was a way to turn off. Well, okay, I think that the Google Plus app does use your geolocation to know where you are, but whether you share that information is optional. Okay. So if I use the Google Plus app to write a post, I can turn on and off the share where I was when I wrote this. But if so, you can not let other people know where you are. But I think if you're using it, Google will know where you are. That being said, if you've ever used Google Maps or a Google search, or Google probably already knows where you are anyway. So this gets into how much do you trust Google. I've pretty much given up. Google knows more than me than some of my family members. So, I seem to recall that as an option. I have not actually used the app all that much, besides the automatic photo sharing, mainly because I have an original Droid. It's dying, and I'm hoping that I will be getting a brand new phone in the next month, and then I will probably really be going full bore with the Google Plus app. Next question.
Okay. Oh yeah, she likes to stay hidden. So yeah.
No, that's fine. Hey, I am not going to. You need to make your own decisions when it comes to that. That's all I'll say there.
Quick answer. Can you hide your email address in your profile? And yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Everything can be hidden,
but your name,
except for your name. So you can enter a whole bunch of information in there for people who you want to know or for your own use, but yeah, everything is possible to say don't show this.
Yeah, in fact, if I go back to my profile and I click edit profile, and I'm only going to scroll down so much here because well, you can find me online. Edit profile, and then you can click on any of these areas to change them, and whatever information you provide, just about everything but your name is optional.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Two related questions, and I think this is just because we got to move along with stuff. There's just so much in here. But
we can go a little long too.
We'll go long. As long as you guys are willing to stick around here with us. We officially end at 11 Central Time, but we will not get cut off from our program. We'll go a little over if it needs to be. Explain what Huddle and Sparks are all about.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Okay. Sparks over on the left. Whoops, I went all the way down, too far. Sparks are kind of like, I'm interested in a topic. Please show me public posts on that topic.
Like when someone mentions that word?
Yeah. It's sort of a search. Remember I said search doesn't exist? Well, it's kind of a search. So, for example, here I have a Spark on Android. So if I pull that up, these are not people that are in my circles. I'm not officially following them, but these are things that people have publicly posted about that particular topic. Okay? And what you can do is, for example, I'm just going to click Sparks, and it has this featured interests, notice one of which is Android. And so I'm interested in ferrets. Okay? Yeah. So I'm going to search for ferrets. And then here is a bunch of public stuff mentioning ferrets. I can add this interest, and then it will show up under my Sparks. So it's in the Twitter world, it's kind of like a saved search. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it's not a full-blown search of it's a search of public content. But it's not a search of like the stream you have received.
Right. You could be your stream and everything else.
Well, it could be, but it isn't. It's only public stuff. Yeah. If you shared something with me in your friend circle, I can't search for it.
Right, because it's not in my.
But if you put it public, I could search for it as a Spark. It's. To be honest, I've set those Sparks up and I keep forgetting about them.
You're right. It is very, very similar to I saved search in Twitter, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, and one other thing. Oh,
The Huddle.
Huddle, right. Well, actually, it's Hangouts on the web. It's Huddle in mobile. Okay.
Why? I don't want to know.
Well, no, because it's different. Okay. All right.
Well, the question was about Huddle.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about both.
Okay.
Okay. If you look down to the right here, we have a start a Hangout. Now, I'm not actually going to do this because I'm not sure how it will interact with our camera and with everything else with the broadcast. Okay. A Hangout is video chat. Okay. And you can start a Hangout publicly. Okay. Great for photos. Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, and more people to follow. All right. Okay. A Hangout is video chat. You can start a public Hangout, or you can start a Hangout with one of your circles. Okay. So I can say, and what it is you basically, it creates a post that says, hey, do you want to come hang out with me? And what it will do is the first 10, up to 10 people who join you get in with whoever you've invited, whether it be the whole world or whether it be a particular circle. And it is a video chat. Now, what's really cool about the video chat is you get a kind of the main window up top of whoever's currently talking and smaller windows along the bottom of the other 10 people in your Hangout. And so if somebody else starts talking, they switch up to the top big window. I've only played with this briefly. It's pretty slick. Trouble is I don't have a webcam at work, and by the time I get home in the evening, I don't want to bother. Right? But we should have like pre-scheduled one just to try it after the fact. But try Hangouts, really cool. Huddle is in the app, the phone app, and is text-based. Okay. So a Hangout is online on the web video chat, and a Huddle is text chat via the mobile application. Okay. It's pretty slick. Like I said, though, don't really want to demo it here because I'm afraid of what it might do to GoToWebinar and our bandwidth and all sorts of other fun things. So pretty cool. Trey, but what's really neat about it is Michael Dell of Dell Computers has done public Hangouts.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm doing a Hangout. First 10 people want to talk to me. I mean, that's got some pretty cool applications.
Yeah, you have to be in Google Plus.
Well, you have to be in Google Plus. Yeah, you have to have an account. For example, if I had enough people at work, we could start a Hangout for people at work and do the video chat. Or so you can limit it to a particular circle of yours. Or you can invite the whole world, basically.
You want to.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like.
Other questions?
Good question. How would you find a public Hangout? Is that something you just have to happen to know? I don't know.
Okay, two things, and this is where like I said, I haven't played with it very much. Generally, in the Google Plus world, let's say somebody I'm following starts a Hangout, it will show up as a post in my stream.
Right.
So if Michael was to start, Casey was to start a Hangout right now, I would get a new thing in my stream that said, hey, Michael started a Hangout, click here to join him. Okay, Trey Radcliffe has done this. Somebody somewhere has created a website that actually lists currently open public Hangouts.
Oh, Google it. Huh.
Yeah, Google exactly. Google it. So I heard that existed. I saw it once. I don't know that it still does. So, but I do recall that somebody has done that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. It looks like a lot of our questions now are leading towards what the question that Michael had, Casey had.
Is there any that don't
no.
yet? Okay.
What
no.
are some resources used by librarians that Google Plus adds to? Does it allow groups like books or bands or libraries, which is the same thing as can organizations have a Google Plus page?
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I get to that, let me show one more thing.
Okay.
That's going to be my one kind of tip and trick for this. Okay. Some of you may have noticed I have this stream called Bookmarks.
Yeah.
Okay. If I go back to circles, this was like one of the coolest things somebody pointed out to me to do. This is like almost like bending the system to your will without adding any add-ons or anything. Okay. What I did was circles, and I created a circle called Bookmarks, but I didn't put anybody in it. Okay, so there's 0 people in Bookmarks. Okay. Then I go back to my stream, And let's say, for example, that Heidi has shared this thing about alpacas, and there's no way to search for it, so I want to be able to get back to it later. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to share it, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share it with my bookmarks circle, even though there's nobody in it.
Ooh, that's sneaky.
This is very sneaky. I click share. Okay? Now if I go to my bookmarks stream, there it is. Okay? So it's kind of a sneaky little way to bookmark things in Google Plus so you can get back to later.
And you can call it whatever you want.
You can call it whatever you want. I call it bookmarks.
Yeah. You create a circle and call it whatever you want. Of like, I'm being sneaky.
Yep, exactly. So that's my one tip or trick for those of you that have been using it and are trying to figure out a way to kind of like save stuff to get back to later. There it is. Nice. Create a circle called bookmarks or whatever, save stuff, whatnot. And don't put anybody in it, and then but it'll show up in your stream. Yes. And on a side note too, you can like reorganize the order of your stream. So if I went back to circles, I can put them in different orders. All right, the big issue. Right now, Google Plus is designed to be used by individuals, people. Not libraries, not organizations, and people who are willing to use their real name. Oh boy, have I just opened two big giant issues. Okay, and we could spend the next, Krista and I alone could discuss these issues for the next 2 hours because we've kind of done it. Yeah. Okay, Google is working on a way for organizations and entities to work within the system of Google Plus.
To have pages.
Yeah. To have, the equivalent of Facebook pages, but I don't want to say equivalent because they haven't created whatever it is they're doing. They've got some organizations testing it.
Yes.
Okay. If you create a Google Plus account for your library right now and they catch you, they will delete it.
They will delete the account. It's happened.
They will delete the account. It has happened.
They don't care.
It has happened to CBS News.
Yes.
Okay. It has happened to major corporations. Google has explicitly written documents and put out articles and blog posts that say, please, if you are an organization, do not do this, but there is a way to apply for participation in this program. You'll notice here this one is from G4 Tech TV. My guess is that they have gotten Google's approval to be participating.
They're a techie place. That would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, Google Plus is intended for individuals. For people. I use it. I have not created an account for the Nebraska Library Commission. Nor will I until they let me. I am trying to play by the rules here, especially because they will delete the account.
Yeah, there's no point in, it may be the kind of thing, like I'm sure a lot of libraries said, oh great, I'll create one and I'll start figuring out how to use it for my library. And you've jumped on and done that. Don't do that because you may put work into figuring out how you're going to post, what is the logo, the picture like going to be for your library, and then in a week they find it and they delete it from you.
Yep.
They just delete your account. It is very explicit. It's not for individuals yet. They're working on it. It's in beta testing.
5 weeks.
There are organizations who are testing it for them yet, right this moment. So at the moment, the question, Michael Casey's question, can organizations use Google Plus pages? Well, can they? Yes. Should they? No, because they'll get deleted. Wait until they announce. There will be a huge announcement. You'll hear it when it is finally, here is the way for organizations, businesses, corporations, whatever, to do it.
Right. And, I don't have the URL, but figure out, if your library is interested in doing this, figure out how to apply for that beta program. Really, maybe they're looking for a library to do it. I don't know.
Now, one question.
Yes.
Okay, sorry,
question about organizations? Okay, because we started to need to talk about names.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. All right. The other thing I mentioned is that right now Google's policy is you must use your real name. And so at the moment, Google Plus is not designed to be anonymous or use pseudonyms of any kind. I have mixed feelings about this. There have been some very good articles as to why you should be able to use a pseudonym. I do not argue that there are reasons to use pseudonyms. and you can, probably just come up with some of those reasons on your own. But as with organizations setting up an accounts right now, if you do not use your real name and they think you are not using your real name, they will kill your account.
Mm-hmm. They've done it.
They've done it. Now, without even getting into the, stalkers and all these, political dissidents and all these other things, let me just show you how serious they are about this. There's a well-known person out there. She goes by the name Dr. Kiki. Her name is Kiki, and she has a last name. I think it's Sanford. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. She's known as Dr. Kiki, so she created a Google Plus profile called Dr. Kiki. Well, despite the fact that Kiki is her name, one of the rules is that doctor is not allowed. That's not really your first name. It's not Dr. Kiki. Your first name is Kiki. So they did actually lock her out of her account. They are really serious about this. So if you are somebody at the moment who is not comfortable using your real name online, regardless of my personal opinion about whether you should, shouldn't, or your reasons, don't join Google Plus, because the rules are you have to use your real name. Okay? We can debate that from now until doomsday, but right now, dem's the rules.
And if enough people have issue with it, contact Google and tell them your reasonings.
Right.
They are
listening.
They are listening.
They did change the rules on gender.
Yes.
Originally, you had to say male or female.
And you had to,
and it had to be public.
Yeah. They
did change the rules. Their logic was that they're trying to put natural language in, so do you want to say her post or his post? And they need to know that. Well, gender is no longer public, and I'm aware of the issues. I've been accused of I don't care as much because I'm a man, so be it. I can't help that part. I realize there are issues with letting people know who your gender is.
And, it just may be that Google Plus is not for you for all these reasons. And it's not. Don't join it, and they'll
Exactly.
They'll
I
notice
mean, as much as you can control the information on Google Plus, their intention right now is use your name, own what you write. If you feel the need to be anonymous or pseudonymous, I can never say that word. Google Plus, I would just say for right now is not for you, because if you break the rules, they will shut you down. Okay, whether you agree with that or not, like I said, dem's the rules. Comments, questions? I'm sure there are comments. Not really? No? Okay, she's reading a long one.
Yeah,
bear with us here.
Trying to understand.
Okay.
It's Phil. That's really quite funny that as many issues that people have had with Facebook with it, that Google Plus is supposed to be in competition with Facebook. And Google Plus is less concerned with letting people have their privacy, and Facebook was more concerned. And people are talking about it as a competition.
Well, okay. Whether Facebook is more or less concerned about people's privacy may be up for debate. So, there are both sides to this issue. I'm generally a firm believer in own what you say. Yes, I'm known as the traveling librarian, but I put my name, Michael Sowers, up there. I mean, and I've made the conscious decision about being very public. I am not public about everything. There are just some things I don't put online, and if I don't want people to know it, I don't put it online. I can understand other people having concerns. Actually, probably the best article I've read on this is from Dana Boyd, who recently wrote about the whole naming issue and listing very good examples as to people who really can't or shouldn't be able to put
there's lots of very good reasons for it, and
their
people
own real
just need
name
to
out
think
there.
about what they're doing.
So, yeah. Next.
Okay.
More?
Just to back up something quick and useful, Nicole Wolf found the website for looking for public hangouts.
Okay.
It is gphangouts.com. Where to hang out at Google Plus.
Ta-da!
Thank you, Nicole.
Yep. We'll add that to the list of bookmarks.
Yes, we will.
There's the longest hangout ever. Woohoo!
Wow.
It looks like it updates every 5 or so minutes.
Cool.
Conversational English practice. Oh, see? There you go. There's one called Sorry, But I Don't Want to Hang Out With You.
Okay,
Tell jokes,
then.
make people laugh.
All right.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah, there
hey,
you go. Okay.
there you go. Okay, thank you. Thank you much for that.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
How do you tag a person in your post, just like in this person, like Catherine just did with Michael, because they see what
Yeah.
you're.
Okay, so I can do this in a post or a comment. I'll just do it in a comment.
Yeah.
But basically, you just start with a plus. Thanks, plus, KATH, and
And
notice.
then it will bring up a list of the people who you
Blink.
know, and you choose them from that.
Although, thanks, Catherine Brockmeyer. It kind of. But here's what happens. You can get email notifications based on a whole bunch of stuff, okay? And one of the benefits of doing that is if I mention Krista in a post, Krista will get one of her notifications that says, hey, Michael specifically mentioned you in a post. You might want to go take a look at it because maybe he's talking smack.
You don't have in your circles and stuff yet. Like I was just checking my email here. I got a email that Michael Casey had mentioned me in that post of his talking about watching this, but I didn't have him in any circles yet.
Okay, right. So yeah, so if Catherine wasn't in one of my circles, and like I said, there's settings. I should probably bring that up real quick. Let's click here, Google Plus settings, just tell you what's available there. And so there's my cell phone number. We'll just skip past that real quick. Do I want text messages or emails based on particular scenarios, things like that? So you definitely want to take a look at this because I've had a lot of people complain. I get an email every time somebody shares something with, well, come in here and turn that off. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because I think like all the email notifications are on by default or something like that.
Yeah, Facebook is the same way.
So,
until you go in and tell them I don't want to hear about every single thing.
Yeah,
go
check out there.
Anything
else? Oh,
yeah, a couple
sign
of things.
In. Wow, I think I clicked back and it completely logged me out.
Interesting from Michael Casey sharing just a URL maybe used to people, and we will add to our list of URLs when we put this out. Interesting social statistics on Google Plus from socialstatistics.com. So you can see how people are using it.
They do Google Plus statistics. I think there's some other ones. Notice who the most followed person is in Google Plus. Mark Zuckerberg. What's funny is he never posts anything, so I think everybody just follows him for fun.
Probably,
but hey, he's going to try out he's going to check out the competition.
Why not? Yeah.
So yeah, you can get statistics out of this. It is pretty cool. I have played with it.
He's followed more than the guys who invented Google anyway.
Yeah. So but everybody knows who Mark Zuckerberg is.
Yeah. Well, I know who the other guys are.
Who are these Larry and Sergey guys?
Anyway,
thank you, Michael. Appreciate that.
Yeah, about this. It seems you can't go back and change which circles to share something with. You mean like after you shared it?
Give me a sec. I don't want to agree or disagree with that because I know you can edit this post and no, you cannot. No, wait a minute, public, just view anyone on the web.
Can you unshare something?
You can delete a post. Okay. There is delete this post. And here's disable comments and disable reshare. I mentioned disabling reshare. And you can get a link to a particular post also if you want to tweet that you posted something on Google+. Or add a delicious bookmark or something. But yeah, it does look like, see, I just never thought about this. Once you've chosen who to share it with, you can't really change that. So something to keep in mind. Choose your sharing carefully.
We only have one last thing so far at the moment.
So far.
What are some of the resources used by librarians that Google Plus can add to? I guess basically stuff you're already doing. Is there anything that this could be useful for? And say it's the question, but I might add to that. Yet, I mean, maybe not. There isn't anything possibly yet. If it's not public, it's still beta. Not everyone is in it. You can't have a page for your library yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's something. It may be something that there will be, but there isn't at the moment, really.
I would.
If anybody has any ideas out there, let
yeah,
us know.
please send them. I mean, I guess I kind of have two responses to that. Response number one is technically none yet because libraries themselves are not allowed to have an account.
And in addition to that, not only are libraries not allowed to, but something else is it's not public for the whole world yet. There's going to be tons of your patrons that can't even get into it yet without an invite.
Well, no. If you post things publicly, you can, and you make your profile public. You could have like a public. Yeah. I guess, but a simpler answer. Let's assume the library could have an account. Mm-hmm. It would be the same usefulness to your library as, say, Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so,
It's what I think may happen, and this is going to be a futuristic thinking, is that when they do figure out how they're doing pages for libraries and organizations, it'll be similar to what you've already been doing with all these new communication ways of communicating with your patrons, with your users. Mm-hmm. Some people use Twitter, so you'll use Twitter to make sure you catch them. Some people read your paper newsletter that you mail out, you use that. Some people read your local newspaper, use that. Some people follow you on Facebook, you use that. Some people watch your webpage. This will be another thing. Yes, it's another thing.
Right.
But this is where people are going to lots of different places now, and it will just be another place to make sure if you've got some of your users that maybe are using it, make sure you put something out there just in case.
Right.
But along those lines too, and this is something I've talked about in previous yes, cross-platform or another social network to keep up with, yes. Mm-hmm. But also, and this is just it's kind of a big picture thing, don't go gangbusters with, oh my gosh, every single new social network we have to be on. Check them out, explore them, see what other people are doing. Then ask your users. Yeah. Find out where they are. If you say, we have this wonderful Twitter stream, and you do like a survey of like your users over a month, and nobody says they use Twitter in your town, then don't bother. It's okay. Yeah. So investigate the things, but ask and figure out what your people are doing, and then speak to them.
One thing I'll say though about I want to back off just a little bit on the library can't have an account. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll use the director as an example. The director of the library can have a Google Plus account and post things about the library.
True.
Okay,
and actually,
so
we just have a suggestion here
you could, but you can't like make up a fake staff member to have a profile. So if they catch you at that,
But we actually, Phil here has a good idea. Mm-hmm. It might be a good idea, and you can do this right now. For a book discussion group, have whoever leads your book discussions create a circle for your patrons to discuss a library book. I mean, you could do that now because it's just for individual people.
Yep. This is so early. I mean, really, the point of this session was not to necessarily advocate that the library jump on Google Plus. Or even necessarily advocate that you jump on Google Plus.
Maybe in 6 months we'll have another session that will be now that it's all worked out with how it works. Here's how you can do it. Right now, it's only been a month worth.
If I would argue, though, that somebody in your library, if you think the library, this might be something that really catches on and actually, starts being used, and the library's going to, it behooves you to start playing with it now, so you get the hang of it by then.
Just in case it becomes the big thing, a big thing. Yeah.
Follow me. I still have lots of problems with Google Plus. The searching. There are some. Like for Twitter and Facebook, I have buttons in my browser that just says, send this to Twitter. Well, some of those exist for Google+, but a lot of them haven't been very good, and I've been trying not to use them because the service is so, they make a change in the service, all those things are going to break. I'm trying not to use browser plugins and add-ons and bookmarklets and all these other things. So it still is kind of a manual process. Some people have figured out a way to everything they post to Twitter automatically gets cross-posted to Google+. Well, fine, but I already follow you on Twitter. Please stop doing that. We're getting into some personal opinion here now.
But you do, but not other people.
I know.
Not.
It's
and that's something you do have to deal with is the overload of all these social networks. If I am on every social network that you're on, I'm going to see the stuff you post everywhere.
Yes.
But that's just because I'm everywhere and you're
everywhere. And exactly.
There may be someone else who's only on Twitter.
Yes.
They only see.
I want to stress.
Those of us who are on lots of places have to filter that stuff out and understand.
It's not perfect. Yeah. It's missing features. It is a different way of doing things. Circles take a while to get the hang of. I mean, it's, but that's all I wanted to do here was kind of just explain to you what the idea is, give you an overview of what's going on, show you a demo for those of you who haven't been able to get in yet. You know, those invites, I wonder how many invites I have left here. 140. I've used 10. So it looks like a lot of people who are on here were already in
I know
or just refused.
John Ritterbush did because he was talking about it on Twitter saying, how do I get into this thing? And then you posted that and he said, oh, hey, thanks, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have one more question that I
Okay.
think would be the last question since we are about 15 minutes over our allotted time. And I think we've gotten to a lot of good stuff, the basics of it. This, like Michael, what you just said as a wrap-up was perfect about what this was for. But it is an important question. Do you need a Gmail address to have Google+? They're anticipating their patrons will want to know that.
You need a Google account,
which is different from
which,
Gmail.
well, no, which does automatically give you a Gmail address.
Okay.
So if by signing up for, okay, and I'm 99% sure of this, by signing up for any Google service, you create a Google account. That username automatically gets @gmail.com stuck on the end of it, so you also have it. So you don't already have to have a Gmail account,
but you're going to end up.
But you're going to end up with one, and you don't ever have to use it. But to be honest, I have a Gmail account. You can probably guess what it is. But if you say, and what I did in Google in Gmail, and this is another little trick. I have like my real email address and I have my Gmail address. I've set up Gmail to automatically forward everything sent to Gmail to my real address. So if you email me at either, I get it where I really want to check it. So I'm not an active Gmail user, but I do pretty much everything else in Google because I have my own domain. I pay for it. Why use Gmail when I'm paying for that thing? So,
okay.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing that's come up while we've just been talking. Yeah.
I will do one other thing. I will say one other thing for people who may be signing up and adding me to their circles. Please feel free. If I don't add you back, please do not take it personally. I'm trying to be a little more picky when it comes to Google Plus because I'm starting fresh. So I don't just follow everybody back. I have twice as many people who follow me than I follow. It's nothing personal. Say some interesting stuff, and maybe I'll start adding you, or introduce yourself to be at a conference or something, and it increases your chances. But I'm specifically with Google Plus. I'm being very picky because I'm trying to manage what's coming in, and you start following so many people, you can only pay attention to so much. So.
Okay.
All right.
All right, that was very good. That was very quick. Lots of information.
That was quick. We went 20 minutes over.
That's okay.
But lots of questions.
Yes.
That's wonderful. I wanted to answer people's questions.
Yes. This was all recorded. So if you came in late, or if we whipped past something so fast that you missed it, or you want to re-listen to something, the recording is being done. If you want to get into Google Plus or not yet, there's Michael's invites. When the recording is done, today or tomorrow, you will all be sent a link to where you can get access to it and to any of the websites that were mentioned today. So you'll all be told about where that is available to you to watch later. Other than that, thank you very much. We've got some thank yous coming us. Great introduction. Someone's going to be teaching their own Google Plus class in October. Awesome.
Yay.
Good luck.
Yeah, very good luck. I'm going to share one more thing here while we're at it. Just kind of, share those two links that show you what happens when you share a link here and make that public, and it just kind of sticks all that in.
Okay. So thank you very much for attending this week. We hope you join us next week, where actually this will be of interest to anybody, not just Nebraska librarians. One of the librarians from a library here in Nebraska attended Overdrive's Digipalooza, which is their international user group conference. I believe it was up in Cleveland, if I don't, a couple months ago. And he's going to be joining us, Andrew Sherman, the IT coordinator from Sump Memorial Library here in Papillion, Nebraska, to tell us about what he learned there at Overdrive's Digipalooza. So if you want to, join us for that next week. So thank you very much. And if there's nothing else, we're just getting a bunch of thank yous at the moment. We can say,
all right.
close off the recording.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye.
See you next time. You does first.